Fixie here, back at it again with another one. In this one, we're going to work smarter, not harder. Look, rust began. Stick around. I'm going back to sleep. Another day. Now, in the last one, we got this all made up and finished up, and we got the roof on the outside all finished. What I want to do on this one now is I want to get started on repairing this section up here, but before I do that, I want to get all this here all cut out of it. I want to get the dash out of it and get all the floors out of it, because I want to stand this up on his nose on this end here, so I can actually make it comfortable to work on that. So today we're going to concentrate on getting this here all cut out, get all this firewall chopped out of it, and get all this straightened away so I can get all the pieces off it that I don't need. But first things first, the garage is a mess here. I got to put some stuff away, clean up my bench, get all this straightened away, turn on the old light, and get this place cleaned up. So I'll go ahead and get all this cleaned up and get this set up ready so we can actually chop it up. So I got the bench all cleaned up, garage is all cleaned up here. I got the truck all set up here now so I can get around it and get everything cut out of it. My whole plan is here now is I want to get everything off of this now. It's solid enough that I can cut everything out of it. So I'm going to cut the firewall out of it. I got to cut the dash section out of it. No, I'm not keeping the dash. I don't have none of the bezels, none of that. And all the ones that I've seen guys using the Crown Vic firewall, the heater box hangs down way too low, and all this stuff here sticks out a lot because the grill is up here and all this, and then you got to make this all work. I just wants to simplify this build. That's all I'm after. To not go with that. Like, it's fun, it's kind, yeah, if you want to get into that, but like when you get into using the factory dash, you're dealing with aftermarket gauges. Some guys have used the gauges in the truck, fine, needs a bezel, haven't got it. You know, then you got all the heater box mechanism, everything down here that's going to be interfered with it. Then you got to fool around steering column, probably got to change. There's a lot of stuff. Yes, it looks better. I will agree with you, the stock dash looks better. But I'm not going after that. I'm going after a simple build, something fast and simple. Everything is already rigged up on this, so I haven't got to worry about steering column, gauges, heaters, none of that. I'm not adding none of that to my list of things I got to do. Bolt that dash back in, bolt steering column in, done. That's the extent of that. But I'm going to get that cut out of it first, and I'm going to then start hacking the firewall and everything out of it, get it out of the way. I'm looking to do this because it's going to make it a lot easier for me to work on this up here. I'm hoping to stand it on his nose, all the floors will be gone, I can go inside the cab when it's on his nose and work on this section here nice and comfortable. That's the key to doing a nice job with that, is to be comfortable doing it. So I'm going to go ahead now and get out the zip cut wheel. I'm going to leave about a ½ inch here, cut this right off along here. There's a tab on the bottom, I'm going to try cutting that, hopefully the sides will let go. I don't know if they're spot welded on, if so I'll run a chisel through them. And I'll get this out of my way. Well, I made short order of that. I removed everything else that was in the way around the firewall. There was a brace over there. You can see it laid down there below the steering column. I cut that off. All this that held on with, there's a tab right there that's welded onto the bottom of the dash. You cut that off. And then I just cut it. It's actually welded on factory along here. And all I did is I just cut the lip, because I want a bit of a lip left here that I can weld to, all the way along there. And there's another tab over there. Then there's a bolt out through the firewall here coming back, and that's it. The dash comes right out of it. But as you can see, there's the side. I thought the sides might have been welded on that, but it's not. So if I ever decide to put the dash in it, I can still do it. That's not happening. The wipers. Now this is wild. I got the wiper mechanism in the motor and everything out of it. But I figured, you know, that won't give me no issues. Well, I ended up having to cut all the bolts off because they were spinning around. Broke one off. Broke the other one off. And so I'm going to have to dress that. Look at the rust hole. I just noticed that. Yes, boy. Cool. Well, I just took you along and found rust. Rust in this truck. Go on, boy. It's strange how this truck rusted. Because it is very, very strange. And look, that was up inside the pillars here on both sides. I had to clean them out. They were full. I'm going to blow this out down in here now some more, because all this was full, and get all that blown down into there and get all that out on the floor so I can clean it all up. And then I'm going to cut that out. Now, this can all be done with a grinder. You can cut all this out with a grinder. Yes. Now, I says I'm going to do this thing with basic tools. I'm lied. Because I have access to a plasma cutter here. Now, they're not that expensive, but I want to make short order this. I'm just going to chop this out with a plasma cutter. I'll tidy it up later with the grinder. You could do it all with the grinder, not an issue. I just want to get this done and over with, so this is all cut out of it. And so that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use a plasma cutter on that. So I'm going to clean out these here section here, and I'll blow it all out, get all the dirt out of it, get all this cleaned up, because I don't want none of that catching the fire, because that's all that is all dry leaves and everything. And start cleaning up here and start cutting all this out of her. It's going to be fun. So I got everything cleaned up, and I'm all set up here. I'm going to cut this out with the Arc Captain Cut 55 Pro. Danny machine. I've after using it a few times now on the channel. I see a lot of people cutting this stuff out, and they're cutting big, large piece out of the car and dropping it all down one piece. I'm not going like that. I'm cutting this out in sections. I don't want to have nothing I got to lift. That's too heavy. As you all know, I have back problems. So I'm going to cut this out in sections, just comfortable sections that I can just move out of the way and work my way through it all. There's a big cross member across here. They're going to cut on either side of it to remove, because I got to cut it down around the chassis rail right here on the side here. There's a mount up here and a mount over there I got to work with. Back here is a bit tricky. I'm going to end up cutting into the body here, because I don't want none of this section in the way. And I'm going to have to add pieces in here anyway. And I'm just looking to eliminate all this bracing and everything is in there. And I'm just going to keep that body line there and just cut that around there like that and just remove it that way. Because I'm going to be coming straight down from that. I don't need to roll in there. And that's the easiest thing to do. I'll probably do that with the grinding wheel and just take a cutting wheel and cut along there. Just leave that little lip. I like to see if I can leave that lip there, and that way I can run off of that to do the piecework. And we'll see anyway, because it may be a bit troubles trying to get it fitting around that. Not worried about that right now. Anyway, I'm going to get started on this now. Start chopping everything out. So here's where I'm to. I got most of it cut out. I got the corners cut out here and chopped off in the corner here. and over here. All I got left to do here now is cut this back section out here. I'm just going to do that with a grinder, come up here and along here. I'm probably going to have to fight with the inner panel right here and cut it off in order to get the whole thing let go. But I'll get all that done now and start cleaning up her. I'll bring you back when that's cut out because they seem to always be a nuisance. But as you can see in here where it's welded on, I'm not going to be using under roll, so I'm just going to cut it off just above it, take the whole works out of it all together. And a lot of guys tries to save that, but I need every bit of room in the cab as I possibly can. So that's got to go. Anyway, get cutting. And that is cut off. Don't need none of that. Some fellows tries to leave this piece. I just think it's in the way. It's always in the way of everything because you got to cut the center out of it in order to fit it over the transmission tunnel. So that had to go. But yeah, I got it all chopped out now. It's all roughed out of the way. I got to go back now and I'll take the grinder with the zip blade wheel now and do a nice tidy cut all the way around the entire thing so that it's all flush to the actual side of the machine and clean it up so it's all nice. That's pretty well it. Back here, not really too concerned about none of this yet because there's more of this got to be cut out of this yet because of the channel. I just roughly cut it out. I want to save this belt line here because a lot of it ends up going over and going down this way here. So I want to take that and move it up so it's even with that. So the back of the cab looks right. That's just me being OCD. Some fellas just chops them off and that's it. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to clean up. I got to find somewhere to put all this. We're expecting snow today. So again, oh God, we get some snow here lately. Storm after storm. This will be the third one now in about 2 weeks. And each one is 25, 30 centimeters. Some places more than that, but here where I'm to is only that much. I'm along the water, so it's not bad. But anyway, enough rambling on. Let's get this cleaned up. Made short order all that. Got her all cleaned up here. So I'm ready now to get back at it. Oh, there was some pile of dirt on it that come out of that. I got a beef bucket full of rust and dirt to come out of the bottom of the car when I cut it all up. But I'm here now, and what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to clean all this stuff up where I cut it off. You can see it over there is very jagged edges and everything around it. I'm going to go around with the zip cut wheel now and just trim all that up as I'm going around. So I got all that done then, and I haven't got to worry about it. So I won't bore you with that. I'll just go get it done. It's just simply me cutting with a grinder. So I got everything trimmed out, all cleaned up down here. Needs to be grinded down some. I got a hole right here to deal with. Strangely enough, I got a hole right there. And of course, I got the hole that I showed you earlier. That's right there. And there's one over there in the bottom as well. But the rest of it is good. Nothing to worry about. But now that I got all that done, I'm going to give her another quick clean up here now. And I'm going to set the cab up so I can start working on this here. I always say, work smarter, not harder. Look, we got that right nice there now. Sit down on my stool here. Work away. Have a nap. Yeah. Now we can get to work on that. Cool. So this is what I got done. I just got to put on her nose. I was concerned about it being tippy, but it just wanted to go that way, and it rests there really nice. So I'm not going to worry about it, and I can honestly tell you that's after lightening up that cab somewhat. I got no troubles moving it around. I've been watching myself, but I still, got to be careful what I'm doing. But I'm in here now, and I saw some interesting stuff. That there, if you look in there, that's actual bare metal. That's not rusty, look. You actually see the reflection. Over along here, the way thing. That's the actual inner structure of this frame. This one over here now is not the same though. But that's what I'm up against next. Oofda. I'd say the whole works, it's going to have to be replaced. That's all full of holes there. Lips are good though. Well, lip was good. Moving along there. That's minor. What I'm going to do now is try to come up with an idea to make pieces for that. I kept sections off the quarter panels on the actual Crown Vic, but I don't know if it's going to work for that because I think they curve this way, and I needed to curve this way. So I may have to hand make these panels out of flat steel. I'm probably going to make them in 2 pieces, one here, so there's not so much of a contour to deal with. But that's got an edge on it. I thought that was a rolled edge, but that's an edge there. Straight edge right along there. Yeah, spot. Okay, yeah, alright, I see it there now. That'll be my join, right through there. Woohoo! Come down here and bend this here. And then come up here with a bit of a roll, and join two of them there, weld two of them there. And that'll be it. As simple as that. Yeah, I wish. Only fun. I spent the whole day out here now with this. I got my light all rigged up above. It fits in there perfect. Into the window. But yeah, I'm going to call her a day. I got her all set up here now. And I'm going to pick and poke on this. And next time I come out, I'll get started on this. But now that I see it here, I'm looking at it, sizing it all up. It gives me a chance to think about it, because I never knew about this here. I never looked closely at it to see this crease. So this here, this shape here is pretty interesting. I'm not going to worry about that bead. I ain't going to think about that. I'm just worried about getting this here in the flow going across. I like to make it look presentable looking, because I'm going to be looking at that sat behind the wheel all the time. So this here got to look nice. Anyway, time to do some thinking and then get started. So here's where I'm to with this. I sat down and slept on it, thought about it, and come out here and start sizing up how this is done. There's a flat here with a bead in it. I'm going to eliminate the bead, and I ain't worried about having putting the bead in it. I can do it. I got a bead roller here if I want to put a bead in it, but no, I'm just doing all this here with just basic, simple tools. So I have this section here, and then this is flat across here, and it's got a little small crown on it here with a lip, and then it goes down to the window. I've sized this up. When you take a straight edge, of course, you can actually see it. When I lay it across here, this here got a curvature this way. But on top of that, when I lay the actual piece here, there's a gap right here where it touches in. So this actually goes this way as well. So there's a couple of things going on there. This piece here now, and I'm thinking sizing all this up. I'm going to make this in probably 4 pieces. That's what I'm thinking about doing with this, because of the way things are shaped. Because this here, when you lay this across this way here, across this, it's got this U shape going on as well. There's a whole bunch of things going on, a shape like this, a shape like this, a shape like this. So it's easier just to make 4 individual sections to it and weld it all together that way there. You could sit down and probably make 2 of these together and then put this in a shrinker stretcher and try to shrink this to go like this. But the problem with it is that you're also going to have to get it to go like this as well. That's right. Yeah, it's going to have to go like this, sorry. That's the way it'll have to go. So it's a lot of work to do that. I'm trying to get this section here and shrink it. But again, I'm trying to do this with little or no tools. And this is the way I would have done this from years ago. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dig out some steel. I'm going to start off by making this piece here. I'm going to make it nice and long. I figured now, if I lay this across here, like so, I'm going to go to the outside sections of this and overlap here. And if I lay that up here and come up to the height of the thing, you can see I got roughly 4 inches, I'd say, there, probably 5. So I'm going to make a piece 5 inches wide. And I'm going to measure from here to here. And get an overall in, and kind of strip out that big and start there. And here's the donor piece of metal. This is the roof skin from the actual Crown Vic itself. I hung on to all the sheet metal. I measured it across here, and it's not long enough, so I'm going to have to take sections off it this way here. Now, I know I just need 1 straight edge. I'm not going to worry about cutting a perfect strip out of here now. I think I'm just going to mark down, find a spot here somewhere, mark down 5 inches, and just blindly cut a straight line off from there, and then just use that whole piece to start with, because I'm going to have to trim it to fit in order to get it to work right. So instead of trying to make a perfectly good square piece out, there's really no need of it. I just need 1 good straight edge to start with. So that's all I'm going to do here. I'm going to measure down somewhere now and just cleave off a straight edge. Nothing fancy here. I just measured over 5 inches and just drew a straight line along there and just chopped it off with the grinder. That's my first piece. Now this is a crown panel. I'm not too much worried about that. That'll just help everything when it goes to shape it all. It'll just make it a lot tighter and stuff like that. If you had a straight flat piece of metal, it'll be fine, but this is what I got to work with, so I'm going to work with it. So I went ahead and I marked out 2 sections on this chair and cut the length is what I went and did. I was off 51 inches, so I had to cut a bit off either end just to give me an edge to start off of, and they weren't exactly square on one end, so that would help with that. So now I'm here now, and I got that clamped in place, So it's touching in that corner there, and it's touching in this corner here. This is the distance here. This has to move down to here. So what I got to do now is I got to transfer this shape up onto this piece of metal. This is where the piece of metal is going to go. It's just going to slide down. I just took a scrap piece and I cut off the end of this. I go right in the middle here. I'm going to mark it. Right there. Now I'm just going to start moving this over. This is the middle here. And I'll just start moving over. And I'll start moving it up. Using that mark. Right here, that's the bottom there. We'll start there and we'll start tapering off from there. I'll just continue on with this mark, using that measurement there. Keep that vertical. So there's my shape there. Coming down there like that to the middle, that's where it ends there. So I figured somewhere over here now is going to be, this is going to be straight across here, and I'll just repeat this all over on this side as well. Yeah, about right there. Down the other side there. So it's over here. Mark that. There's my shape there. Put another one here somewhere. There we go. Another one here. Let's keep a few more marks here. So I'll take this out now and I'll mark that and trim that off. As you can see here, you can see the marks that I put on it. And I got it all, I just connected the dots. I never got too fancy with it, just freehand. I'll shape it all with the grinder when I get it in place. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead now and cut that off and get that out of my way. I got them chopped off. Let's go over now and test fit it. Minor spots on it now, I think. Yeah, both ends got to be trimmed off a little small bit because they're around the edges on it. The rest of it seems to fit pretty good. Happy with that. I'll trim it up now and do another fit on it. So I got it mounted in place. You can see it there now. It fits across there. I got a cleat go down in place. Not going to do nothing with that. That got to be trimmed off yet, but I'm going to leave that alone for now because I'm going to go on now and start building the second piece to go across here. Now, I did make that a little bit too wide. That could have been 4 inches, possibly 3. Yeah, possibly 3 inches. That could have been wide. So I'm going to go down here now, make this second one here to go here, do the same thing with it. I'll take this one off and lay it aside, and I'm going to start building the second piece. The same process. I'll cut a strip off, I'll fit it in place, and then I'll mark it. I'll clamp it in place there and then mark it. This one here is going to go a little bit different. I think I got to take some out of the middle of this one here to get this to slide up. So I got that one laid in place. I just cut it out. I think that's about 3 inches wide, and I cut it off 51 inches, the same as the other one down there. And then I went and centered it up and then clamped it on either end. And you can see up here on the ends the way it fits. It's only about 3/4 of an inch on either side. So this here had to be tapered back. And I took a little measuring device, marked it every so often, and then I'm going to turn around, take that off now and trim that up so that can slide right up in there. And I got it all trimmed up, and I got that cleat coat in place. Now this here is like on a bit of an angle as well. So I'm using the actual panel itself that's in place. There's a section right here that was in good shape, and I got 2 cleat coats put on it to hold the angle there. So I'm basically using the rusty metal to make this panel. And up here you can see the angles right here. I got it set on this angle here. So now you would think now what you start doing is start cutting these pieces off. No, I'm not going to do that, because when you start making small strips and then you start welding together, it becomes a mess. So instead of making a whole bunch of pieces and then welding it all together here one by one, or welding it all together when it's all made, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make that first piece there now, clean up the two of these here, I'm going to put that in place there, get two of them fitted, and get two of them welded and dressed and finished. Even before I trims this off, or even before I trims that off. Because it's just that you're going to handle it easier. It's got a large piece of metal there. If it's only a little strip, it'll end up going all right warp each and everything on you. And at least with the big pieces of metal that you got here, you got a tendency to hold everything in shape. So I'll go ahead now and get these cleaned up. This edge here on this one here, and up along this edge here, and get two of them fit in place so they can be welded together. So this is what I got done. I only cleaned up what I'm going to use. Not going to waste my time cleaning the paint off the rest of it. Now I went and clecoed on the bottom piece first, and then I brought the other piece down on top of it. Now what I'm running into here, as you can see, the way it's tight here, along here, and it's tight along here, up to about here. Then it's good up here. I can push in on it here. This is what I'm after to get this effect going on. So I got to take this off now and trim this up because this is too tight here. Because this is kind of like going in and out now because it's forced in on the cleco. But it's sticking out here and it's sticking out here. It's got this low section in it right here. So I'm going to mark it now where I'm going to have to trim it up. And I'll get that so it fits in there right nice, and I can actually play with it a bit enough that I can actually do this with it. So I can actually hold it in place and then weld it together. So I got it all welded up. I find that by the time I welded an inch, skipped an inch, welded an inch, skipped an inch, and by the time I got over to this side here, I come over here, this side here was cooled off, and I just went on over across it again, so it didn't take me long to do that. I went ahead and I marked it then right here and right here. I want to trim off most of that, but I want to leave enough there that I can work with. Same with down here. I marked it over here because I think this strip here, I might be able to use on the bottom side, or this strip here, I could probably use for the next one of the next pieces that I put in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cool this off, so it's cooled right off before it takes it off. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to grind all this here, get this inside edge looking nice, and then I'm going to trim off this section here and trim off this section here, so I can get ready to start fine tuning it to fit this section of the whole works of it here. I think I might dress it all up and roll over the edge and then cut this back to where it's supposed to be. So that's done. Then I'll build a lower section, and then I'll join the two of them together after the fact. So that way it's only one bead right on through the whole middle of it, and I can concentrate on doing another inside pass there. So I'll get this off now and get this all trimmed up and grind it up. So I got it over here on the bench now. I'll do all the work on the bench. You can see the way it's all a bit of an overlap there in spots. I'll clean all that up. And you can see the shape now that it's taken. You build a lot of stuff this way if you wanted to really get into it. So I'm going to go ahead now and get this here all grinded up and get this trimmed off. So I got it all cleaned up, all grinded off on the inside there. It's not perfect. It's perfect for me. Then I went and roughly marked them out. All I did is I took a piece of steel, as you can see there, marked it. And actually that's for this side here. Marked it there like that all the way around. And all I did is I just took that there, put it there, marked it, put it there, marked it, put it there, marked it, and then drew a line along it. It's just roughly cut out. It's not precise there. I just wanted to get it down to a size that I can work with. So now that I got that all cleaned up, I got the back side all grinded off so it's nice and flush. I'll go over now, fit that back in place and see what it looks like. So I got it all put back in place. I had to tweak it some because it seems like after I grinded this out and I turned around and I trimmed off them two edges, it kind of softened up the whole thing and it made it more pliable and things kind of relaxed. So like if you look down inside here, you can see like where the cleat goes to. It almost looks like it's tin foil. That's how, you know, it's just pulling in on them, but the rest of it is not there. But there's lots there. I got a rolling edge over on this yet. And there's a large piece. And down here, this is fit pretty good. I got to trim this off some more. I might do that now and have it done. And that way I can, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove that. I'm going to start building this lower section. And what I think I'm going to do, I'll build the lower section the same way I built the top. And then when I'm all said and done, I'll work on making a weld right through the middle of it, all the way through there. So I'm going to turn around and mark this now, trim this up a little bit tighter, and then leave the rest of that alone. I'll probably mark it in on the back side of that too. I'll probably roll over the edge, get all that done, have it over and done with. So I went and put masking tape on it where I marked it. I went in and marked it first of all with the piece of steel, marked my distances on the ends. Then I put a piece of tape on it. I played around with the tape till I was happy with the actual line that I come up with. And then I went and put a marker on it. So you can see there now, and I'll just cut all the marker off and I'll just pull the tape off, and that's how I'll do that. I'll cut right along that because I find that it leaves tape on, it starts to roll back and it's kind of hard to follow along the edge of the tape because all this starts to melt. I just soon have a line there. I got that done, and on the back side here you can see the creases there. I'm going to fold that edge up along there. In the middle here now, this is not folded, so this is flat here in the middle, and then it folds over on this edge here. So I'll go in now, and I probably got to trim off some of this. Yeah, back here in this end here, you can see I trim off a bit of it. So I'll trim it off, and then I'll fold over that edge. Do all that there with the pliers. The way I've done a lot of the pieces, I'll just bend them over like that, and then I'll dolly it. You can see the little roll edge I just put on there, just bent it with the pliers, then I went and flattened them out in the vise. And I trimmed off this one here. Now, I got this clamped in place, so I'm going to go in here with the grinder now and just step that back a small bit. Just enough, there's a couple of spots there that I don't like here, and in the middle, this end here seems good, but here in the middle it seems to be a little bit long, and it seems to be a bit long right here. On the end it seems decent, so I'll go in now with the grinder now. I'll just use this here as my alignment tool, and I'll just grind that back. I got that there grind back now, so it's nice and flush there. Nice and flush over here. Here. So now I got that piece ready to go. I'm going to take it off and start building the bottom. You can see what I got done here. I just took the grinder over, knocked all the heavy flakes off. I never disturbed nothing, I never moved nothing, I never chopped nothing out of the way. I got this left here because this is my template. I'm going to build this section here now, coming down here. This here has a bit of a tip up on it because I'm going to need this for the actual window rubber, so this got to have a little edge put on it. So I think I'm going to build this piece first with an edge on it. That'll come up here, and then I'll just build this little piece here. I'll just build it flat for now, and then I'll put a bit of a curvature in it because there's only a small curve in this as well. So I'll go ahead now and see if I can get a piece of steel now to fit in there, and we'll start there. So I had these two strips left over from the other piece that I made, and I've after test fitting them, and they're too short. It seems like the lower section of the windshield frame is longer, and this is too narrow on the ends here to use them pieces, so they were no good to me. So I come over here, marked off another 4 inches, cut off a full length piece to go in there. Now what I did in here, I just clamped it in the middle because it's a curved shape, and I come up here and I ran the marker across it. You can see it's not fitting very good there. What I did then is I come over and mark this. Now I got the curvature that I need. What I'll do now is I'll put a piece of 3/4 inch tape on this side of the line and go parallel to it, and I'll cut it off on this side of the line here, and that should give you the shape that I'm after. So this is the mark that I put on it. Now if the mark goes over and ends off this, I got a gap over here. What I did is I took this is like almost 1 inch tape, and I ran that along the edge of the mark here. But when I got down here and ran out, I just tapered it off. So now this is going to be my cutting edge in here. I'll cut this off in here, that way I'll get my full shape. I'll run the tape up here now, do the same thing again, mark it, and cut it off. As you can see, now what I'll do is I'll cut this line here, which has got the cutting edge moved up to here. So this is my shape that I need, but I need to get more meat down on this end of it, and this is how I'm going to do it. So I'll get this cut off now. This is why I like to start with larger pieces. I went over and I fit it in place, and she was still short on this side here. So when I clamped it and got it in the middle, you can see it on both sides. Then I went and clamped it. The problem with it was it had a bit of an angle to it. When I put it in before, I had it more straight up. When I put it on a bit of an angle, this here tipped outwards. So I clamped it in place where the angle it was to, and then I went ahead and marked it along the roof line itself. I'll go ahead and cut that off there now. And there is the fit. I got it on the right angle, and it's clamped in place. It's got a nice seam all the way along there. I'm pleased with that. I was going to bend the lip up on this here, and the more I start thinking about it, I'm going to leave that one alone because I'm going to fool it all up. That's supposed to be flat anyway. I'm going to build this one here. This is the one I'm going to manipulate. I'm going to put a roll edge off this end here, so that way I can get it to fit along there. Now the trick is going to be making that piece. I'm going to have to just take a piece of metal here and start trimming it, so I can get it close to where it's got to be, because it's got to be on an angle. It's not laid down like this. It kind of comes up on an angle, but then it's got a curvature to it as well. So this is going to be the tricky one here now. I got this one here. I'm happy with that. That's just got to be cleaned up. I could trim all that off later on. Not worried about that right now. So then I'm going to go in now, get another piece of metal that I'll trim off. I might take that one 5 inches, because I think I'm going to need every bit of it. Take it 5 inches wide, and then start coming over here and fitting it in place and test fitting it as I'm going. So I got the piece cut out and trimmed up to the length. It's very hard now. There's nothing I can clamp to here, so I'm guesstimating that stuff. I know there's got to be a curvature on it, so I'm going to trim off a bit here, trim off a bit here. I held it up in place, put it on the angle, sized it all up, said okay, I'll take a bit off here. I'm going to sneak up on it now and trim it up. I got a bit carried away with it over here. I just want to take a large section off, and then I thought about it some more. I'm going to take a small piece off and get started from there. So I'm going to trim this up and fit this in place, and I'm going to try to see if I can get this in place here now. And I'll bring you back when I got it fitting good. A sliver here, a sliver there, a sliver there, a sliver there. And this is where we're up to. It's very hard to do this one here because this got to be almost on this angle here, but it's got to roll over. So you're thinking about holding it this way here, but the problem with this is going to meet the other panel this way here. So I've been trying to get it to fit down through here. And now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to put a roll edge on this all the way around here. So hopefully now, I got enough material on either end. Hopefully there's enough there. And I'll just go ahead now and get this here. I'll take a T-dolly out and I'll just start rolling over that edge. Only needs about, ½ inch or so rolled on the ends. So I got that all cleaned up there now. When I got taken out, I got my T-dolly here out. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a roll edge all the way along that there. Hopefully this is going to work, because when I change the roll on this here, I'm hoping that the angle is going to be right. And this is going to lay back, but this angle here will stay the same. We will see. So I'm here, and I got the bit of roll on the end of it. After going over and test fitting it a few times, I just used the T-dolly. Then I turned it upside down here on the bench, and I just worked my way all around it to flatten out the edge here, because I found the T-dolly was leaving little wrinkles in the end of it. Been over there fitting it a few times. I got too much material here. I got it marked off now. There should be more than enough. I'm going to go cut that off there now. Hopefully I don't ruin this whole panel. And this one here is totally different than anything else I've done. Everything else in the panels that I've made, I've had something to go by. I'm winging this one because I got nothing to clamp to. I got no way to position it in a permanent position because I got a curvature. I got to put a curve on this all the way along there yet. So I'm just winging this one here, and hopefully I don't fool it up. So I'm going to go ahead, trim that off, and then go over and start fitting some more. What I did now is I got the piece that I made for the outer lip, I got that clamped in place. That's fitting good there. I grinded it all up and I got it fitting nice there. The problem I'm having is I'm trying to shape this, but I can't get it shaped because it needs to be mounted somewhere. So what I'm going to do, I have this half mounted, it's not fully shaped yet, but I'm going to go ahead and weld this inner corner down here. Get that welded up all the way along there, on the angle that it's supposed to be on. Once I get that all welded up, then I'm going to start shaping the top side of it and bend it over so I can get it laid down so the top piece can lay on top of it. This is not an easy one, I can tell you that. Having fun with it here is a challenge, I can tell you that. But just trying to get everything to fit nice. Trying to get that to fit nice down along there. This side's good, the other side is not the best. Over in the end here. But I'll make do with that. But I'll get that welded on there now. So I've been busy. I turned around and I got this tack welded together. And then the piece was too big there because I needed to clamp it on more. So I actually trimmed it off a bit. There's still lots left there for that there to be trimmed off. I just want to get it down to a smaller piece. So I trimmed that off. I trimmed off the ends of it as well. Then I just took the hammer and started hitting this here, and I'm starting to get the crown on it. Now I got to cut this off about right here anyway, but I just need a little bit of a crown on it. You can see there's a bit of a crown on it there. But it's coming, I can tell you that. It's not easy, but what I'm going to do here for now, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get this all welded up here. Get that welded up, and then I'm going to trim this off up here, take a bit more of this off up here. And creep up on it so that way I can fit the other piece back in it and start working on getting two of them welded together. But I'll get this here all grinded or welded up anyway. I don't know if I'm going to grind it up right now or not because I can do that later if I got to. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'll weld that up and then I'll trim that up. So I got it all welded up. I think I'm going to take my own advice. I've always talked about it. Don't go getting too far ahead of myself. I'm going to pop this off now, grind and dress all that, have it done. So I haven't got to worry about it then later on. I got it marked up here now. I'm going to also trim off this here as well and try to see if I can tidy up this a small bit. Up here I have two low spots right here that kinks, one here and one here. So I got to try to round them out. When they bent over, these here just wanted to kink this way. So I got to dolly them up. Probably got to stretch that area there a small bit and there, try to get it to come back. But yeah, okay, I'm going to pop this off, get this all grinded up. So I got this all grinded off down on the side here. I also gone up here now and I marked it. I went over on the rig and marked a few spots. Made up a little template, marked it like this here, that's how I marked it. This is where I'm to, but I'm going to leave a little bit of an edge on it for now to line these sides. But I got to tell you, this 20 gauge is not very forgiving. Look at the shape that's in, look. I never runs into that problem with the 22. Look at it. With the 18 gauge, the 20 gauge, my God. Brutal it is. That's it. I'll make do with it. I'm going to go over here now, cut this off. And I'm going to dolly up this here and try to roll this out a small bit so it looks nice. And then I got to go over and force that back in place again. Look at that mess. I got it all cleaned up there now. I buzzed off the back side of it right there where the welds were too. Just knocked the head off everything. But I got it in there, dollied up a few spots, rolled over the edges here. So I got a bit of a crown on it. Oh, the thumb's in the way. But there is a crown on that, it's hard to see. Hopefully now it all takes shape when I put clamps it in place. Very flimsy. Very flimsy. That's it. Get that in place. It took a bit of tweaking, but I got it on there. I got it all put up tight there now, and I had to put lots of vice grips on it. You never have enough vice grips. I might even put more on it yet. I got more there. Up here now, this here looks good. I like the way this has gone. But up here now, I got a bit of a lip up here, so I'm going to take the grinder now, grind this flush this way here to flatten this out for the other piece. And then I'll eyeball it over here on this side here, because I got nothing there to go by, but I'll just, I'll go according to this one here, and then I'll just cut it down over there, because I'm going to overlap that other piece there a small bit to weld it on. I might leave it a bit high, I don't know, because this panel here I've got it built, but it's overlapped over here. Now, by factory it goes in underneath it, and everything is lower anyway. I'm going to leave this lip here. I'm cutting this off and leaving all that there, but I'm going to clean up the bottom lip here, and because there's rust in it, and I want to clean all that off. So this is going to have a tweak going on this way here, so maybe a bit tricky on these outside edges. I'm not going to worry about putting them seams back there again. There's inside the cab. I'm just going to turn around and weld that up across there, and weld that up across there. This is a rough setup to try to repair, and so I'm looking at the best way to do it, because this panel was put on, then this panel, and this panel was put on afterwards. So to try to get this duplicated, I got to cut sections out of this here to put this into place, and then weld them back in again. I'm not going at that. That's probably what I would have done if I was very meticulous with it. I would have turned around, cut them sections off it, and then plug weld it down through there. But I'm not going to be doing that. So I'm going to go ahead now and start trimming this up here and get it so I get the other piece, which I have right here. This panel here that I made earlier. I'm going to fit that in place there and see if I can get that there to go together nice. Well, it's been over an hour now, I'd say. I've been playing around with it, tweaking stuff, grinding stuff, fitting stuff, changing ideas, moving stuff around, critiquing stuff, dollying stuff. I wouldn't say it's an hour now, but it feels like it, I can tell you that. I tried to overlap this over onto this one here, and it just didn't seem right. This here had a nice edge right along it. This was uniform going along here, but I couldn't get this here uniform because it was like up and down like this way here on this lip here. So then when I started fitting in places, I knew that one fit in place, and this was going to fall, this was going to be where it was too. So what I got done now, there's still some material there. I'm going to just leave it alone. I can sit down and probably grind it off. Maybe I'll grind it off. No, I'll leave it alone for now. I was going to grind it off, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to tack weld this all on, and I'm going to grind some of that. I'm going to grind some of that. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave it there. What I'm trying to figure out is I got a lip here, right? And if I grind this flush here, all I'm going to do is make this thin on this end here. I'm just going to push this in tight to that, weld it here, weld it every inch all the way along through there and over there. Make sure that I'm happy with the way it is. What I'll end up doing then is I'll take it off and weld all the inside. Put a nice bead on the inside of it. Then when that's done, I'll grind the outside of it and run a bead on the outside of it. Because just running the bead over this here, I might get away with it. I might get away with it. I just find it makes a lot of work. It's nice when this has got a nice fit to it. And if I start grinding this down, I'm going to start blowing through. And I want to get it all fitted together and lining up nice. And this, by pushing in on this now, I brings up in this, see, in the top piece. So that my alignment is good there. And like you come across here, got another spot here. This got to be pushed in, right? Over here is another spot got to be pushed in. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to tack weld all this on across here. Push it in where it got to be pushed in. And put enough tacks on it that I can take it off and weld the back side of it. One thing I've been noticing is when I'm taking it off the car, after I welds it and then I grinds it, it doesn't seem to fit. It fits. You really got to force it into place. But it almost starts going flat again on you. But, that's neither here nor there. Now, it might have something to do with the panel being a crown panel, too. She's going to be relaxing with the heat and going back to her form self, right? Taking all the heat out of it and it flattens out. And I'm trying to put curvature in it. But that's it. But I'm pleased with it. That'll be brand new now I gets that done. So I'm going to go ahead now, get some tacks on that so I can actually take it apart. I'm always thinking when I'm doing this stuff, I have it all tack welded together here now. And I start saying, Tony, like, you got to take this apart, weld it up inside. It's still not going to be strong enough. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start over here and I'll start grinding this flush along here. I'm not going to do the whole works of it. I'll grind a section flush. I'll put some more tacks in there. I'll grind another section flush, put some more tacks in there. And by the time that I can get over to there and gets that done, then I can come back over here and we start welding it all up. That's what I'm going to do, because that way I got the strength on the outside, so that when I takes it off and welds the inside, there'll be lots of strength there. So, alright, get grinding and welding. All I'm doing, you can see it there and grind it off. Come over here, I haven't got this section here grinded off. And then I put a few tacks on it. I'll just continue on now. And you can see it's got a lip on that there. That helps line everything up. Go back over here now, I got everything lined up. So that welds all that up nice and solid. I'll have a nice strong edge there. I'll weld the back side of it to give it more strength. And I'm just going to go on now, get all the rest of this welded up. And I got it all welded up. I keep changing ideas here. I talked about welding this on the other end, but I might overlap this onto this and plug weld it down through there, dress this edge, and just have an overlap, much the same as what's up here, because that's what was done down here. This was tucked in underneath it, but I'm probably going to reverse it and just put it on top. And down here in the end, I'll just notch it and just drop this end down here to go where it got a, so I don't have the windshield flange too thick. And of course, then up there, I'll just plug weld it up along there. I'm just trying to get away with not having like too much welding and filler work or whatnot. Now this is probably going to have to be filled. I don't mind that so much, but yeah. But I was just sizing all that up. That's why I got a mark there now. I put marker on just to size up how much of an overlap I got left there, and then I'll probably just put a nice straight edge up across there and put a few plug welds down through there, and that'll be it. Instead of having the solid welded up through there, we'll cross that bridge. But that seems like an option. I still got to remove everything in from inside and get everything painted. And I got to weld the back side of this now. So that's cool off there now. I'm going to pop that off and weld all the back of that up and see how much it warps it up. I also marked the back side of this here so I can actually cut more of this off. I'm going to leave some down there. But when I goes to put this in place, when I removes the intersection, I got nothing to fall against. So I'm going to use the actual marker lip that I got there to so make sure that this edge here is not up too far or is not down too far. So I got a bit of a lip. There's too much there now. I can feel it. Like I still got a full finger there from there to the actual lip. So I'll trim it off and size it up. And that way when I clamps it back in place again, I'll just leave enough there that I can just run the grinder flat over across it just to dress it up. But I wanted to have something there. All right, let's pull that out and weld the back of it. You can see where I put the marker on it. There's a nice lip all the way along there. I'll leave the marker there and I'll cut on this side of the marker. I'll just cut that section there off. That'll give me a nice little lip on the bottom. But you can see on the inside here now, I got to weld all this up in here. I'm going to clean that up because that's still got the coating on it. And then out on this side here where I marked it, you can actually see there is an overlap. So I think I'm going to have this section right here and spot weld it along here and just have an actual seam going up along here. Much the same. See the way this was a seam here? I'll put the seam on top here. But what I'll do is I'll step it down here and then I'll plug weld it across here. Over on this side here I got lots. Got lots left here, so I'll just come back to here and just give the same about 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch all the way up through there and then spot weld it down through there and put a notch on it there. And I'll probably clean off this lip here. Just clean that off because I think that's interfering with the going back flush with this lip that I got put there. This here seems to be really tight, so that'll give you a bit of room to movement there. And I'll just leave the rest of it there. I'll cut this off along here and I'll cut this off along here and then clean this up here, this lip, and remove all that and then basically get all that painted in there and get that all painted in there. But that's a little ways off. Anyway, I'll go get this all cleaned up and welded up on the inside. See what kind of a mess it makes of it. So I got this all welded up on the inside, all the way along there. Then I come out here and I trimmed off this section here, left the marker there, the section that I had there. I got to put holes in that there. Then I come out here and I grind and dress this off out here. I went and welded the ends down here that when there were a big gap on them. I used the actual piece of brass behind it and welded up the ends because I want to leave all this here because I'm going to end up cutting this one straight up along here. I'm going to do the plug weld up along here. What else about this? I did the same thing down here. Welded that up. I haven't got to trim that up. I'm going to fit this in place first and put a new cleco in here somewhere because I got to cut off the end of this here and that's where the cleco's held in place. So I want to put another cleco here before it does that. Now, this piece is made, but it's far from perfect. I can honestly tell you, working with 20 gauge metal and working with 18 gauge, I find that 18 gauge got a tendency to shape nicer and hold its shape better. And it's a lot nicer to finish. You got room to grind and stuff like this. Stuff is tricky, okay? I'm at this, and this is an old cheap 20 gauge. It's rough panels off the rig. It's great for what I'm doing with it, but if I was going to do a full-on make this panel again type thing, I would use 18 gauge. It's a lot harder to work, but you get a lot better finish. This here is up and down like a dog. This is what had to be filled all along here in order to get this right. This line is not going exactly straight like I would want it to. But by the time I gets the visors on this now and gets the piece in the middle on that and gets the visor put up, half of that you won't see. But I'll end up filling this anyway, just to tidy it up, just to make that edge here a lot straighter. Just to tidy it up. But you can see it there when you're looking along it. See if I can get you to look at it there. It don't look half bad now, mind you. I'm being very meticulous here now, right? When you look across that there, it don't look half bad. But I can feel it. So that's the big thing. I can run my hand across that there. And as I'm running my hand across that there, I'm feeling this. That's the easiest way to show you that. So I don't mind that. That's the bodyman in me. But like, I wouldn't just paint this and leave it alone because it'd look horrible. Like there's a low spot there. The high spot there. You know, it is what it is. I'm making this out of scrap and junk, and I'm pretty pleased with how it's coming out there. I just find that it got a tendency to twist up a lot. It doesn't move. Like, it moves a lot around anyway when you're welding it. Like, I'm going to have to force this in place now to get this back in the truck itself. Now, over here, I got into trimming everything out of the way. I trimmed back this lip because I don't need it on this here, but I'm leaving this piece here. It's nice and solid. I'm not going to fool with it. I'm just going to weld right to that. And then I just trimmed all this off. I got to clean this up. I'm going to leave it alone for now till I test fits it one more time and gets the clecos made and gets them trimmed off to the right width that I want on both ends, get the ends cut off, and then I'm happy with it. Then I'll clean this up. But there you go, bare metal. That's all bare metal in behind that. This is the back of the panel. There's bare metal right there, look. And that's the rust. Now you look at that rust there and then flip this over. That don't look half bad there. Do it. That's half solid there. And you flip it over. And there's what you're up against. This is what it's like with old vehicles. I wanted to say this here is in a lot more places on this truck. I'm not being concerned with it. It is what it is. I'm making a fun little beater out of this. Like, I'm not worried about this here being restored back to perfect. But any of you guys got these trucks, there's bare metal right there. And I'm willing to say, as long as it stays in the southern climate, it's fine. But if you bring it up here and you park it outside and you got warm and cold weather going on, this will have rust. I can tell you that now. I've had friends of mine that brought home vehicles from the mainland, and when they brought it home, they used them for a year, and some of them, like, they used them all year round, and it was amazing how fast they rusted out. It's just that the rust was there, but it was very minute. It was like this, very minute rust. It's just that when the damp air hit it, that was it. It went away to nothing. It rusted like it would have rusted. But I'm going to go ahead now, get this other piece, test fit it in place. I'm going to have to manipulate the dead out of it to try to get it to fit there and get it clamped down, so I'm happy with it. And then I'm going to get the two sides trimmed off and get this all cleaned up, and then we're going to install that panel. You might be wondering how I'm going to clean off that flange. All I've been doing is cutting, folding back, finding the next spot weld, cutting it. Probably, you know, this distance apart about 1/4 inch, folding up this piece, finding the next one. I've been at this a lot of years, and spot welds have always been a pain for me. If I'm stripping something down like this here and I get it down to a lip like this, I just cut and flip and grind, and then I can just grind the heads off of these flat and it's done. Drilling all this stuff out, no, don't bother with it, because these lips are only so thick. When you start drilling holes and everything, it just weakens all this up. I like to keep it solid. I'm destroying the back piece because I'm trying to save the inner structure here. This is the fastest way I found to do it. Some fellas will take little grinders and grind the heads off of them. You got to find them first of all. Like over here, you're looking over across here, I got to dig now to find them. Once I starts at one, I just starts cutting. I knows that the spot weld's only 1/4 inch, cuts on the other side, folds it up, and it's going to fold to the next spot weld, which is right there. I'll cut that there, and I'll cut that there, and I'll fold that up till that goes over to the next one. I'll cut that there. That's all I'll do. It's tedious, but hey, that's it. But as you can see, the back side of this here, all rusty. That was all bare metal. Back side of the flange, all rusty. Top side of the flange, all right nice. That's the way the old cars were built. So I got it cleaned up as much as I'm going to clean it up. Ooh, look, holes. They're staying there. I turned around now, got all that cleaned off. All grinded back, all the lip is gone. You can see where I cut them off. See little grinding marks in the metal. Some of them I actually went through. I'll weld all them up. I'm here now. I got everything trimmed up. Over here I got these holes here. I got to weld up. I'm going to weld up the original visors too, because I'm putting the Crown Vic ones in it. I moved the actual cleco over there and there. Got two of them moved over, so I'm going to weld these up, get all these welded up and grind the dress up, because they're going to be hard. They're going to be hard to do once it gets the piece overlapped and put here, because then when I turns around and gets it here, I won't be able to grind them edges. So I'll grind dress all that there and have it done and over with. And then all this here is ready to go. I'll give it a coat of paint. Over here on the panel, I'm going to go ahead and drill out all the spot welds and get them all drilled out. Even the ones down the bottom here, the ones coming along the sides here, and get that all painted. So I went ahead and I painted the inside of this here, got it all painted. I put a lot of paint on it. It actually stuck to the table. I ran out of one spray bomb and I ended up using a second spray bomb and ran out of that one. It's just, I'm just using up spray bombs. It's just a rust paint. The color doesn't matter what it is, as long as you got some material on this here to help protect it. So I got this all painted in here as well. You can see changing color there. Just I never had enough to finish this off, and I ended up touching that up there and then going over and finishing off the other thing. But I have it all done. It's all dry there now. It's been a few hours. So I'm going to go over now, fit this in place, put the clecos back in it again, and mark all the spots where I'm going to do my spot welds so I can grind off the paint. I always prefer to have clean material down here to weld to. You'll find that if you just try to weld to this, it'll end up splattering on you and you won't get, it won't adhere to it. This is a problem that I've had in the past with weld-through primers. It's designed to keep you from sticking at times. The modern stuff, I haven't used it in years. It was something that I used probably 20 years ago, and it was probably a different type of material. But I had a lot of troubles with it, and I walked away from it, and I haven't used it since. Some of the modern stuff might be way better. I find it extremely expensive for what it does, because I've still seen cars rust with the weld-through on them. No different than that. This is just a cheap, poor man's way of weld-through primer. It's just a rust paint, spray it on there, clean off your spot welds. This will outlast me. Anyway, I'm going to fit that in place there now and get all them spots marked so I can get them cleaned up. So there's what I got done. I went and fitted it in place, and then I went in with a marker and I just stuck through the holes here. You can see the marks there. And I marked all the spot welds. I'll take this off now and I'll grind off all them marker marks. So it'll give me something to weld to. I'll just grind a little spot here and a little spot here. I'm not going to grind the whole surface off because it just defeats the purpose. I want to have as much paint as I can in between the spot welds. So I'll haul it off now and get that all grinded up. And now you can see all the spots, all the black markers. And you come over here, you can see what I'm doing. This is all I'm doing. Just grind them off bit by bit, working my way around. I'll go get all them grinded up now, and then I can fit the panel back in place and start welding on. So I got it all fit back in place again, and I'm all ready to go. Start welding this in. I got to pull it together and clamp it on as I'm going along, but I'll manage. And I'm going to start over here, get this here, because this corner is tweaked up a bit, and I want to get this edge looking nice, so the overlap looks good, and that way I'll get this welded up here and start working my way across the top, weld the stuff in the middle, and across there as well. I'll get this end here straightened away as well, and then I'll start welding across the middle here. So, let's get welding. There it is, all welded in. Brand new. I had a bit of trouble down here. The lip was cut short here. It's giving me the illusion there's an issue here. But looking across, this here looks pretty good, this edge here. But right here, the distance from here to here changes. You can see it's wider there, and this wire there, and it was showing me the illusion that this was tipping up. That's why you saw me going down here bending this down, and then clamping this and welding it. But looking at this here looks pretty good, this edge here. That's all that matters. I don't mind this here, the whole point, because of the distance from here to here is a lot less from distance here, because if they had to come straight across there, I probably would have did that with it, see? So that was the only issue that I come across. Other than that, no, I welded it back up here the way it was. The factory had 2 spot welds on the edge of it there, and then all these are plug welded along there, down along there. I'll leave this seam right here like it is, because that's the way they came, but it was just reversed the other way. See how many Ford guys will pick that out when they're sitting behind the wheel going, hey, that don't look right. Yeah, hello. So I'm going to go ahead now and grind all this up and finish up this project. This will be the entire roof finished then. And there you have it, all grinded up. All I did it with is I went over and knocked all the head off of all the welds with the grinding stone, and then I went back over it again with the 24 grinding disc to grind it off. This is 20 gauge metal. I welded it with 023 wire with CO2 gas and the Arc Captain MiG-200. That's my go-to welder. A lot of you have asked me about it. It's up there. I have a few of them there, but I like that one better. That's the MiG-205, but that's better for heavier. I had that set up. That one got 023 set up in it. That one there got 035 set up in it. But that's my go-to welder for doing sheet metal. I really like that welder. Yeah, that's pretty well it. Now, is it perfect? No, it's far from it. I think if I made this out of 18 gauge, it would have came out a lot nicer. I'm finding now, it's been a while since I played around with slider metals. And the one thing I find is that if you're looking to make nice pieces, do all your metal work with 18. Even if the vehicle has slider metal on it. Because what I'm finding here now, I got to be very, very careful grinding this because I haven't got no material there to grind away. So I had to watch it. A few spots I've had to break it through in places when I was grinding stuff up and stuff like that. I had to re-weld it again. Like when I was making these pieces here, I had to be very, very careful grinding this edge. So it's just one of those things. I find that when building stuff like this here, I would get a lot better finish and a lot better look if it was started with 18 because it's heavier. This here was 20 gauge metal, and I may do with it. It worked perfect, but I've been at this a long time, and this is far from perfect. If you stand back and look at it, and I get the light on it right, if you look across here, this line going across here, over-exaggerating is doing this type of thing, okay? I'm not too concerned about it. Like over here is a few wrinkles in it right here. I don't mind pointing stuff out. You can see the wrinkles going down through there. It's minor. I'm going to end up filling this along there and just smoothing it out. And when I get the two visors put on it and the piece in the middle and the visors up, you'll never see any of it anyway. But it's a simple repair that was extremely complicated. But I'm willing to say this is probably one of the most complicated repairs I've done in a long time. And I think the main reason is because of it being 20 gauge metal. Because of the different shapes, and then we're such a long panel. Smaller panels are great, but these longer panels, the heat will transfer through it more. Like this would never just lay back in place again. I had to tweak it and bend it to get it back to fit again, because every time I welded it or grinded it, I put any heat in it, whether it was welding or grinding, this changed shape. As long as it was clamped in place, everything was fine. But when you took this off and brought it up on the bench and worked on it, it all kind of warped up and everything. It fit back in place, but you had to force it back in place. You can see how I clamped it all together with the vice grips in order to get the shape to come back. But that's one of the nicest things about the 22 is that it's actually going to be able to come back into shape. It took me a little bit of figuring out to get that, but to know that that's what I can do, because I was starting to not like the way this was going, because the warping and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm tickled to death with that now. It's really nice. Like, I'm going to be looking at it from this angle here. That's going to look fine there, along there, when you're sat behind the wheel. But yeah, now that I got that done, the entire roof section is done. I got 2 little spots I got to weld up on the drip rails, but I can do that after the fact. But all the heavy rust on this cab, the roof section that were very complicated, are done. This has probably been one of the most complicated ones that I had. But because I set it up like this here, it made life a lot easier. I wouldn't even dare try to do that overhead. Oh, what a nightmare that would have been, trying to weld that up overhead. I do not like welding overhead, and wherever I can change it and make it a side weld, I'll do it. I avoids it. I don't like doing it. It's not good for sheet metal. It's different when you're welding heavier stuff. Once you get the heat going into it, it's fine, but you can't put heat in this stuff like you would like to. And then when you're splattering and everything's coming back down on top of you, no. Work smarter, not harder. But anyway, that's where I'm to with this. We got this now to a point now where I'm ready to move on to the next step. Next, I'm going to have I got some holes here. I'm going to weld that up. I got to fix the wipers here. I got some rust up here I got to fix. I got to figure out the wipers because I got to have them working. And over here, I got some spots here I got to weld up, and the rest of it is pretty well just clean it up. But before I do that, I think the next thing I'm going to figure out, because I got to position this, I got to figure out how to get that on top of that. So I think in the next video, I'm going to work on getting the cab mounted. I got to have it so that I can take it on and off. And I was going to start doing these repairs first, but then I said, no, let's get this in place and figure out what I'm going to do with everything and how I'm going to repair it, because I think I may have to weld some metal in here, across here, for the cab to mount to. I got to cut some of this out up along here. Got to be cut out for me to actually be able to fit a wiper in there. I want to have the dash this high here. That's where I want to have the actual cab. I want to have the cab so that it sits at the base of the windshield. That's the biggest thing I don't like about these builds. The guys that build them, when they put them in them, the dash is usually an inch or two. A lot of them I see are 2 inches. Some are even worse. Below the base of the windshield, and I don't like that look. I want to have the dash tucked up more into the cab. In other words, so the cab itself is going to be channeled down around the chassis. So I'm going to go over all that in the next video, how I'm going about doing that, but that's what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing in the next video, is getting that cab mounted on that there. But this is where we're going to leave this one. I hope the tips were good, and until next time.